I am just taking this clipboard wood here and I am putting a nice heavy layer of gesso on top. It's important to put quite a bit on there, and it's really fun because the clipboard wood is nice and smooth and fun to paint. So just get a gob of gesso on there. That's the important thing. Okay, now you'll see that I have covered this completely, and in my gesso, I don't know why I felt the need to show that, but I did. I wet down an artist sponge, and it's very textural, and I'm just going to go over every little bit of the clipboard wood that has been gessoed with this sponge. I am using a very, very light touch. I am not, it's very, very gentle over the top, just using the very top layer of that sponge. Otherwise, it will kind of create little smeary marks. So this is the best way to get that nice textural element. Obviously, it doesn't take too long. And right here, it looks like it has quite a bit of dimension, and it does because of all the layers of gesso. When it dries, like you'll see in just a minute, it will not have that same dimension. It will be quite a bit flatter. And there you go. I'm hitting it with my heat gun until it is totally dry. You could always wait to do that too. And then I am finding papers that I am going to use for the background that goes over the top. Now I have torn the papers just kind of haphazardly, but I kind of found the words and such that I liked the best. And now I'm going to adhere it using just some craft and hobby glue. This just keeps it for when I am going to decoupage it down. It keeps it from moving around and sliding, and it eliminates a few of the bubbles that you also will get sometimes when you're doing the decoupage and gesso over the top. So I'm just adhering it down with craft and hobby glue. This is by Helmer. And then I am ready to decoupage. Okay, I am going to be alternating the decoupage glue and gesso. This is decoupage glue. I'm putting it down as the first layer to get it really adhered well to the clipboard wood there. Now I've taken just a little bit of gesso and I'm kind of mixing it in and putting it over the top. More decoupage glue. I'm just kind of dipping in. It's totally okay. You see how it kind of wrinkled up there. But I do want it to adhere well, so you'll see I stick my paintbrush right underneath there and then go back over the top because that makes sure that it adheres on both sides. You could just go ahead and put the decoupage glue on the other side. I have done in the past, but these can be very fragile papers, especially if they're vintage, so just be very careful with them when you're working on them. They can easily fall apart, depending on especially how old they are. If you're wondering about the vintage papers, I used a piece of the Saturday Evening Post. It had come in a kit of mine from Gauche Alchemy, but you could actually go to your library. I am a librarian myself. I have books donated to me all the time. Some of them can be quite old, like encyclopedias and such, and I can, I'll just keep them in the back until I discard them or recycle them. So go to your local library and say, hey, can I have some of your, if you have any available, or maybe for purchase or donation. Now I'm going back over the top again with the sponge, just lightly, just to create more texture and not just the nice smooth marks of the paintbrush. The texture is what creates that real aged look, and that's why I'm going back over it with that. Hitting it again with the heat gun, just real briefly so it's not wet. Then I'm going to go back over it with some more decoupage glue. and I'm really wanting that to adhere, so that's why I'm hitting it with the heat gun at the same time. You can see there are a few bubbles in there, and I'm going to kind of work those out by getting them dried and then adding more over the top. This is kind of just what your eye notices is right. There's no exact step. I'm going back over, instead of using my fingers, I could go over the top, but that will smear it again. So I'm taking the sponge instead, and it is damp, and going back over the top of this. That keeps it from, I don't know, it gets kind of a blobby look from how it, if you were to use your fingers or to use a paintbrush. So you can see how it looks. It's a little bit wavy and bubbly, but that's okay because we're looking for the vintage look, and it needs to look like, for me, like it's been sitting in an attic for 10 years or something. Like 10 years. I guess this is for a 1910 book, so more than 10 years. Let's say 50. At this point, I'm going to just take some ink, and I am going to ink the edges because I am wanting to get kind of an antiqued look. And if something was sitting in a trunk for years, it would have some age marks on it if something was sitting on top of it, and it would get yellowed. So I'm kind of doing that, just going along the edges. This is a dry sponge I'm easily going over the top with. I'm kind of working on the edges and then just a little bit to the inside. At this point, I'm just going to add a stamp. It is a T-ring stamp by Cocoa Daisy. I have inked it up with mixed media ink and truffle, and I'm just pressing that down. Later, I'm going to wipe the stamp off just a touch with a dry cloth, and I'm going to add a few other marks throughout the page and on the back cover clipboard that I've done the exact same technique to. I hit it with my heat gun to set the color, and then I am finished. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you use this technique, please hook us up and let us see your link to what project you did. I would be so excited to see how you used it. Have a great day.